On my PayPal. I'm about to drown on sound. A black rosebud. Uh, uh, uh. Nigga download it. Sergeant Mode. Yeah, yeah. Oh, I had it on mute. My bad. I had it on mute. Can you hear me now? I had it on mute. My dumb ass. Can you hear me now? I be doing that stuff from time to time. Can you hear me now? Let me see this thing on. I had it on mute. What's up, Miss Black Barbie? I had this thing on mute. Let me see. Can I be heard now? Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we get back. Good looking out. That's why he. You know what I'm saying? The nigga press secretary. You know what I'm saying? Because he keep me informed. That's my boy Sergeant Mo. Let me know. Hey, nigga, your dumb ass didn't put the camera on. Well, anyway, you in for a treat. You know what I'm saying? Not matter if you came in late, if you came in now, if you came in early. You know what I'm saying? You are in for a treat today, right? Because like I said, I got videos on top of videos. I'm gonna be look. I got videos. I got videos for days already edited. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's ready. You know what I'm saying to be put on the live. Right. I got Donald Trump. I got sex predators. I'm gonna have Jeffrey Epstein. I'm gonna have the Bible shit. I'm gonna have all kind of shit, right? I'm gonna have videos lined up for you 3 or 4 days. I'm trying to keep these videos to about an hour so I can keep up with this content. You know what I'm saying? I keep y'all informed, keep the video short, entertaining, right? And to the point. You feel me? So let's get into it. No further delay. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't donate, you can donate from a Cash App or my PayPal if you want to. You know what I'm saying? You can go right here. You know what I'm saying? To either one of these right here. What we got? What we got right here? You go either one of these if you're new, right? And you want to send your boy little son, right? Little son. Oh, you know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is go right here to one of these, right? PayPal, you know what I'm saying? Or you can go to my Cash App if you want to send your boy a little something because the donations gonna keep these videos coming. The more donations I get, the more I can stay in the house and edit these videos because it's so much information. And I'm gonna have to go on Rumble with some of this information. I'm gonna do a live on here before I go to Rumble and talk about the COVID and the Chinese shit and all that other stuff because I know they're not gonna let me do it on here. But later on tonight, you know, I'm gonna be talking about Hunter Biden. I'm gonna download them receipts and get the information on that, and I'm gonna be talking about the Norwegian killer at 3 o'clock today. But let's get into it. No further delay. I've been talking long enough. Let's get into the video now. With all this CRT shit going on, right? All the CRT shit going on, and people like sicking the FBI, the Democrats sicking the FBI on parents, you know, that's not with their kids getting taught sexual. I know how to say it right. A sexual. They don't want their kids getting exposed to sexual material, racist material, right? They don't want their sons or daughters getting exposed to victimization, right? To inferiornism and to imperialism, right? They don't want their kids to get to none of that, right? They want their kids to learn about the A's and the B's and the 1, 2, 3s and the shit like that, right? They not with all the politics, right? So in the next couple of days, I'm gonna be releasing a couple of skits to let you know how demonic the Democratic Party is, right? I'm gonna let you know how the Democratic Party is swaying away from the Bible, how they indoctrinating our kids, you know what I'm saying? And they're using the fact, right, that you're going to harm our kids. You're messing up our kids. They're using the kids, right, as a crutch and as a talking point. You know what I'm saying, to try to point out and try to defame somebody. You know what I'm saying, or put somebody in the category of being a racist or a bully. You know what I'm saying, or even inconsiderate, right? That's what you are if you don't support what they got, right, and you support your kid, right? So let's get into this, right? We got Barack Obama wife, Michelle Obama, brother, right, who married to a white woman talking about racism in school, right? So if parents that were protesting at these schools are terrorists, right, why can't Barack uh, uh, wife, Michelle Obama brother, be a damn terrorist too? Because he done the exact same things that the so-called parents done, right? At these school board meetings and stuff like that. But his is more documented. His is more open. But why he didn't get the FBI called to his house, why the FBI wasn't monitoring his phone calls and stuff like that, why he wasn't labeled a terrorist? Because he's Michelle Obama brother. Let's get into it.
ABC News exclusive. Michelle Obama's brother, Craig Robinson, and his wife, Kelly, are suing a private school in Milwaukee, alleging that it expelled their 2 young sons after the Robinsons raised concerns about racial and social economic bias at the school.
Right? After they raised concern, they suspended the kids, right? Now, ain't no school gonna suspend no kids for supposedly racist and biased comments or something like that. It has to be something behind that, right? They're not gonna say that like, your kid is suspended, right? Now, we had all these hearings, right, about what is a terrorist parent, right? What is threatening? What should be investigated and all of those shit, right? Now, is it just me, or do Michelle Obama brother have a worse case of being a terrorist than one of these parents we saw on TV or on social media these last 3 months or a year?
A week ago, the National School Boards Association wrote to the president to say that their teachers feel like some parents protesting recently could be the equivalent to a form of domestic terrorism.
Right? Remember, domestic terrorism, right? Protesting teachers, right, can be a sign of domestic terrorism, right? According to the DOJ and the Democrats and the teachers who wrote to President Obama, it could be a form of domestic violence. Remember all of that they were saying, right? We're gonna build up the evidence. Remember all that? Parents are terrorists. Even if your daughter gets sexually molested at school, right, and you come to protest it, you a terrorist. Remember all of that?
But just this week, after you were there, after Merrick Garland was there, the Department of Justice issued a memorandum to the FBI instructing them to mobilize against parents across the country, parents of school kids.
Parents of school kids, right? Parents of school kids, but evidently not Craig kids. Craig kids didn't get investigated. Craig kids was perfectly safe, even though Craig was calling the school racist, even though Craig said the school had a racist agenda, right? Everything the parents say and everything pretty much the Republicans have been saying, Craig said it too, right? So why do Michelle Obama brother think like a Republican?
Who want Now, not long after that announcement, another group of parents came forward and said that they would be counter-protesting on the same day.
Right now, remember, right? Parents protesting, these parents protesting their kids, and they called terrorists, right? And then you got counter protesters coming, right? The counter the protesters for protecting their kids. Oh, you can't protect your kids. You got to protect the gay agenda. It's not about protecting your kids. It's about protecting transgender students. No, you're not. You're trying to erase transgender students. No, we're trying to erase what you're doing to our kids. We're trying to erase your gay points of views and your transsexual whatever perspectives, right? We're not trying to have you put that on our kids. We're trying to stop that shit, right? We ain't trying to stop no kid from being no transgender or nothing like that. We're trying to stop you from promoting. It's a difference.
Attorney General Garland, on October 4th, you issued an unprecedented memo that involves the Department of Justice and the FBI and local school districts, local school boards. Nothing like it in our country's history. It was based, you've testified, on this letter from the National School Board Association that we now know the White House was involved in writing.
Major division is...
Right? The White House was... Look how much shit the White House is involved with, right? They was involved in the Hunter Biden shit. They was involved in the Twitter shit. They was involved in the FBI silencing, right? They was involved in all kind of shit. Look at how much, right, the Democrats are behind and shutting shit down and silencing. This is the party of the elite. People be thinking I'm playing, right? And I be telling black people, this is the party of the elite. Look at all the shit that they can do. Look at all the crime they can get away with. Look at all the investigations they can get away with. Look how they can use their power to convict people. You know, look how you can use their power to persuade people, right? They using brute force to do all kind of shit, right? They trying to fuck with their money, hiring 87,000 IRS agents and shit, right? They come and check your money and do all this old shit, right? But they want to say they looking out for the country, right? They want to censor free speech, right? They writing letters. I mean, it was just released yesterday. They behind all kind of shit, right? And they behind parents becoming terrorists because they want to see what's happening with their kids in school. Why didn't they check Michelle Obama brother, Craig?
In Dearborn Public Schools. Parents split on what kinds of books their children should have access to.
And then,
right? Parents,
the Attorney General.
my parents split on what type of books that their kids can have. Why they gotta be split? Shouldn't they have math, science, and English books? Social studies, maybe? It shouldn't be a debate on what the kids should be reading or what the parents want the kids to read. It should be a monopoly on it. Right? You should want your kids to be reading English, math, social studies, science, all that shit. Right? Not no, this book is gay, how to become a lesbian.
General put the FBI on the case. So does the administration agree that parents upset about their kids' curriculum could be considered domestic terrorists?
This is a public school, and you do need to be exposed to ideas that might be a little bit different than your family's ideas.
You hear that? You need to be exposed to ideas that's a little different from your family ideas. What if my family is Christian? Do I want other ideas that my son had when he go to school if my son is Christian? Right? Why do you need to implant morals in my son? Why can't I implant them? Why you can't just implant math and science and social studies in my kid? Right? Why you can't do that? Because you only with my kid for 1 year. And then you pass them on. You're not with my kid for a lifetime. I'm with my kid for a lifetime. I know what my son wants. He just coming and going in your school. You with my kid the most 1 year. And how you gonna know my son better than me or my daughter better than me, and you with him for a couple of hours a day, and I'm with him my whole life, right? That's crazy. We need to teach you some different morals on how you was raised at home. What? They didn't never used to say that at school. They used to say, look, that kid is bad. He must have learned that from home. We all know who has some fucked up parents because their kids is fucked up when they come to school. Right? But they want to say, we need to have your kids learn some different morals than the ones you have at home. What?
They've retracted the letter. They've apologized for the letter. They say they regret the letter, but you won't retract the memo and said earlier that you have no regrets. And you've defended yourself repeatedly today before this committee by saying, well, you're focused on violence.
I mean, I don't know how anyone can stand and advocate for porn when it comes to children.
How they can advocate for porn, right? Because this whole country, right? This whole damn country is promoting homosexuality, right? You look at the movies, right? You look at the Woman Queen, right? You got women beating the hell out of dudes and saying that they're the king. You defaming men, especially black men. You defaming. You got a gay singer that's sliding down the pole, dancing and twerking with the devil, right? You got you have. And before that, you had RuPaul to ease it on in, right? They pushing the gay agenda. Look at all the gay women and with high positions inside the Biden administration. No experience, right? No accomplishment. Just the fact that they was black, bisexual, and a foreigner.
One of the things that started all of this was a classroom assignment that the parents say they only happened to hear because classes were virtual and the kids were at home.
Ain't that how most of the parents learned about their kids getting taught this sexual explicit shit during the lockdowns? Doing it, right? So the Obamas knew how, the Obamas found out their kid was supposedly, right, exposed to racism the same way all these other parents found out, supposedly, right? And they wanted to speak out, and nothing happened to them. But when the other parents speak out, something happened to them. How is that? How is that?
This is
and express their opposition to the teaching of critical race theory, a pernicious theory that divides us on racial lines, that tells school children the lie that America is fundamentally racist.
Right? And Michelle Obama, brother, Craig, and his white wife say the same thing. They are speaking just like Republicans, right? They're not speaking like no Democrats. They're not speaking like Michelle Obama. They're not speaking like Barack Obama talking about CRT and all this old shit. They saying the schools are racist. At least the schools that's the schools their kids go to. They saying the school is racist. Do we believe them or not?
It's considered one of the top private schools in America. In this YouTube video the school posted at the start of the school year, they share their key ideals.
On a culture built upon
Oh shit.
We are a diverse community of learners, leaders, and citizens, and we have much to offer one another.
But this morning, the University School of Milwaukee is facing a lawsuit with accusations of racism and breach of contract from two of its most famous parents.
Whoa, you hear that? Good looking out on the Cash App. Ellen Kobe. Good looking out on the Cash App. I got that. We're going to be sending up donations on the next video, right? I got 2 other videos coming today, or possible 3. You know what I'm saying, Ellen Kobe? Don't worry. You're going to be satisfied with the videos today. But you see how the 2 most famous, right, parents at this school, at this most prestigious school, right, saying that their kids are being taught racism? Is they lying? Are they lying or not? Right? I think they're lying. Right? I think that the Obama brother, Michelle Obama brother, Craig, is lying on this damn school, trying to get some publicity, trying to get some notification, right? Trying to get something, right? Trying to get something. How should I say this? I don't even know how to say this, trying to get some clout, I should say, right? Out of shame in his school, right? And shit like that. Him and his white wife talking about how they being mistreated, how their kids been mistreated, right? I don't think no other parents are speaking out on this, right? It's just them. How's they kids the only one being treated, you know what I'm saying, like black kids or something? And you're gonna hear the excuses. The excuses they give, right, on the things that their kids are going through are stupid. It's stupid.
Michelle Obama is my little sister.
Craig Robinson and Mrs. Kelly Robinson.
Craig Robinson, seen here at the White House, is the brother of former First Lady Michelle Obama, making him the brother-in-law of a president. He and his wife Kelly say that administrators kick their children out of the pre-K through 12 school after the parents complained about racial discrimination.
Stephanie Butler began this fight many months ago. She thinks the titles pulled and some that haven't been are how-to sex guides for children. Butler and other parents are planning a protest.
Now, is Michelle Obama brother Craig right? Right? Is it racism? Is they kid being taught racism and sexuality in school? Is this one of these liberal schools? Right? They could be right, but I don't think, right, if they are right, they went about it the same way these other parents went about it, right, and nothing happened to them, right? They went about it the same way all the other terrorist parents went about it, right? And they sued, right? And we don't know if they won or not, but they was able to sue instead of able to get investigated or arrested like these other parents and threatened.
We've asked for people to be involved only that live in the community.
It spreads racial division. Many parents are understandably quite dismayed at schools that are teaching this to their children.
On the other,
Right? Sex and racism. Sex and racism. We don't hear no kids. We don't hear no parents getting mad about math. We don't hear no parents getting mad about spelling. Right? I don't hear no parents marching up to no school talking about my kid needs to learn more math. Right? I don't see no kid learning. I don't see no parents walking up to school saying my kid needs to catch up because of that COVID shit. Right? I don't see no parents doing that. They saying people need to treat my son better. People need to treat my daughter better. Right? They're not saying we need a better education system. They're not saying we need safer schools. They're not saying none of that. Right? Think about this. They talk about more about homosexuality in school than security in school, right? They want to put everything, and they want to fund everything that supports transgenderism, right? And that old, I don't know what else you call it for little kids, you know what I'm saying, wanting to be pronouns, right? They want to put all kind of money into that, but they want to put no kind of money into school shootings, right? And school shootings happen all the time, right? It's just not the big school shootings. It's a lot of other school shootings, a lot of beatings and gang violence and drugs and all that shit that goes on in these high schools and junior highs and stuff like that. These kids are selling drugs in high schools. They carrying guns in high schools. They shooting in high schools. They doing all kind of shit, right? But you rather put more money, right, into the gay shit. You rather put more money into the homosexuality of kids and stuff like that, right? Instead of putting money that into the things that would keep kids safe, keep kids comfortable, like air conditioners and heaters and shit like that, right? Better books and better technology and better classroom settings and shit, right? Better walls, better lockers, right? But you rather put the money behind the homosexual shit, right? They be having gay parades in school. They be having happy story read time and libraries, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that, right? They be having all kind of stuff that indoctrinate kids instead of educating the kids, right? And like I'm gonna do a video tomorrow about how that is all going against God's plan, right? In a devious way. I even got Bible scriptures I'm gonna read about, you know what I'm saying, tomorrow on this thing, right? That lines up exactly on what the Democrats is doing with these kids, right? It's not right and it's wrong in the eyes of God, the Lord.
other side of the coin are parents like Lorelai Muniz, who think the district's actions could lead schools down a slippery slope. They plan their protest right before Butler's.
Our group does not want a shouting match. We don't want to be confrontational.
Do you hear that? A group, right? Think about this. A group is going to a school to tell the parents on what their kids should be able to read, right? This group don't even belong to the school, right? This group don't have no kids at the school. They just go around, right? And whenever they see a protest or something like that, they go around and counter protest. We don't even know if this group got any kids, right? We don't know anything about this group. How many kids do this group have in the school, right? It's not parents that are have straight kids versus parents that have gay kids both at the school protesting against each other. No, it's a group that don't want their kids indoctrinated about a group saying we got the right to indoctrinate your kids. These are the two protest groups.
We want to have an opportunity for those that believe that books unite us and censorship divide us to have a voice.
Wait, censorship divided. You just said that with the Hunter Biden shit, right? It only works, and all these laws and policies and theories and all this shit ideologies only work when it benefits the Democrats, right? It only works when it benefits them. If it benefits us in any kind of way, it's wrong, it's racist, right? It's undemocratic. But if it benefits them, it's right. If it indoctrinate kids, right, it's right. Anything. But I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow. I'm gonna say something else. But the Bible talks about harming kids tremendously, right? But Michelle Obama brother Craig can do the same thing these parents do, right? Let's say he's right. Let's say Craig is right. Well, why he have the ability and why he have the power to go after these teachers and these administrators like these other parents do, and nothing happened to him?
Robinsons are now suing, saying that the school retaliated against their family after they submitted two separate reports in January and March 2021 to the school, concerned about what they felt was racial and ethnic stereotypes in virtual classroom assignments.
And virtual, right? Virtual, online learning, right? So this is what they saying, right? He on the school, he on it with his white wife, ain't not to be racial, nothing like that, right? Because everybody find love in certain places, right? But I wonder what kind of racism that a black man with a white woman is gonna say their kids are having, right? If they're gonna say the racism was aimed towards the kids, if they're gonna say the racism was aimed towards them, or the racism was this in general? Which one? Because it has to be one. Was it aimed at the kids? Was they racist towards the kids? If they was racist towards the kids, that's fucked up. Was they racist towards the parents? Right? Because that would be messed up. Because you can't say who love each other, no matter black, white, Mexican, anything like that. So if the school was racist because of the parents' relationship, that's also wrong. Was it racist? This education, right? As far as curriculums and shit like that, right? If that was the case, that would be wrong too. Preaching racism inside the school, right? Preaching a lot of racism inside the school. So each one of them three is wrong. Or was it neither one of them?
This all started as and there were repeated use of racial and ethnic stereotypes that were in actual assignments.
Right? So he's saying that the work was inside the assignments, right? So we should find out an example, right, of what these assignments is, right? Because I don't want my kid learning this racist agenda either, right? So what was the assignments about, right? Can we find out about that, right? What was the assignments about? Because I think you're lying.
Position is that the claims they've made are without merit and that the court should dismiss them.
The use of the word plantation and things of that nature.
This nigga said the use of the word plantation, right? Now everybody know if you're going to subscribe something, especially about slavery, right? You got to use the word plantation. You got to use slave. You got to use whip. You got to use hanging. You got to use a lot of different shit, right? Because there's no other word for plantation. What you gonna call it? A field, a playground. There's no other word for it.
In addition to who weren't physically in the classroom.
I'm looking.
Don't none of that shit sound like it worked, right? A guard for class, a guard, a disregard for class and status and all that shit, and a disregard for the kids that wasn't even there, that was virtual learning. Do that sound racist to you? Would anybody else besides the Obamas, little brother or big brother, would be able to sue, right? Because of some shit like that, right? With one of them parents that was protesting that came up with the books, talking about the books that their kids was gave. Like, this is the actual book my kid was given, right? And here goes some pages out of it, right? They didn't give no example. They talking about, he said plantation and they used this word and they was dividing in class and all this old shit. He didn't use nothing that was credible, right? These actual parents came in there with books and curriculum and their kids, right? And they came in with all of that, right? They came in with all that as groups, not as two individuals, the parents, right? But as groups, saying, "Hey, this is not right, right? This is not right." So, who do I believe, right? I believe the group of people that came up in there with books and evidence and their kids, or do I believe Michelle Obama, Craig, who didn't have nothing? He came up in there and said, "Oh, but words and assumptions and shit like that, right?" Or his perspective. I believe them parents. So why wasn't the police or the FBI sick on Michelle Obama, brother, just like they were sick on them parents? This is what I'm talking about, how the Democrats, right? It don't matter if you a lower on the lower on a totem pole, right? Like Ed Buck or something like that, right? Who was a Democratic donor, was killing black people, having sex with them and doing drugs, right? Like all these pedophiles and stuff like that. Like you can have sex with Fang Fang and have Chinese spy drivers and shit, and you get away with all that. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, you get away with all of that. Hillary Clinton, you can get away with all of that. The Democratic Party is a party of the elite. Because you can get away with so much in the Democratic Party, and nobody. Look at the dude, the crypto dude. He running around talking about, "I just didn't know it wasn't a fraud, and I feel sorry. I just wasn't up on my P's and Q's." Well, you lost billions. You done went from $10 billion to $100,000. How? Ain't nothing funny about that. The Democrats able to get away with everything. They are the party of the elite, right? And they're using the fact that they call black people victims and brown people victims and minorities victims and stuff like that. They use that as a support system to keep their elite status. Because as long as they keep you poor, right? As long as they keep you needy, as long as they keep you begging, as long as they keep you wanting, right? They're gonna stay in charge. They're gonna stay in power. But as soon as you find out you don't need them, they lose their power. Right? They don't have no power. So they need you needing them. Because without that connection or without that support system, they wouldn't exist. They wouldn't be able to do all this shit, elite shit, and get away with people's face, right? Like I said, right? Hunter Biden bought a gun, right, when he was on drugs. And can nobody else black get away with no shit like that? Can nobody else white get away with no shit like that, right? We couldn't walk and buy no gun at a gun shop when we just got out of rehab. We be on high on dope right now if we wasn't a Biden. Neither one of us can get away with stealing tax money and shit like that, right? And then pay the money back and say, guess what? I paid it back. Neither one of us can get all this money from Ukraine, right? And then get all this money from Ukraine, Russia, and China, right? And then when it comes to pay my taxes, right, I got to borrow money to pay it back. Couldn't none of us on this channel get away with all our friends getting locked up for crooked shit, but we the only ones out? Nobody can be on here can get caught on a computer with crack, hiring hookers across state lines, right? Nobody on here can do that. Nobody on here can lose a diary and have the FBI arrest people and charge them with a federal crime. No one can do that. The Democrats are the party of the lead. No one else can erase 33,000 emails and get away with it. Like nothing happened. Like this, it just happened. They can bleach them and destroy the computers and smash the phones. Nobody can get away with that but the Democrats. Right? I'm doing a story on Jeffrey Epstein, right? Because how is it that, like, is they lying on Jeffrey Epstein? I'm probably gonna switch it up and make Jeffrey Epstein look like a victim. Because think about it, right? Where's all the suspects? Where's all the criminals? Right? Where's all the criminals at? Huh? Who went to jail? They said names and shit like that, but ain't nobody being investigated, right? Nowhere. How can you have, right? Think about this. One of the girls, Elaine Dufresne, whatever her name, she just pulled back her statement on Alan Dorowitz. She said, okay, well, maybe it wasn't Alan Dorowitz. All this time she said, I gave a massage to Alan Dorowitz and all that shit, right? She said she was with Alan Dorowitz, right? And Alan Dorowitz denied it, right? She just came out with a statement like 2 weeks ago and say, oh, it wasn't Alan Dorowitz. Well, who was it? Well, who was it? Because now you have all these politicians. You have nobody going to jail, right? They supposed to have black books. They supposed to have videos, audios, phones. They supposed to have all that. Call logs, witnesses, evidence. Nobody in jail. So if that was the case, why the fuck was Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, right? Why was they indicted? Why did they go to jail? If there was no, I mean, they're victims, but there are no suspects. Think about it. If you are having sex with kids, you're supposed to go to jail. You're supposed to. There's no way around it. There's no accident. There's no oops, am I bad? How is it that there's no criminals? Not one person went to jail for having sex with a girl. So was it a setup? Was Jeffrey Epstein framed? Huh? Was Jeffrey Epstein the sacrificial lamb to cover up a lot of different shit? Because how's all these accusations, right? And these so-called victims supposed to name names, but nobody's been investigated. Nobody's been in jail, right? Statements are starting to get redacted. So what's really going on behind Jeffrey Epstein and these kids? Huh? It'd be nice to find out.
Here at this memo, it identifies no fewer than 13 possible federal crimes involving harassment and intimidation, including making annoying phone calls.
Right? Did you hear what he said, right? One of the things was one of the policies or rules or laws that the so-called parents was breaking was making annoying phone calls. So do it like to me from right here, right? What Craig is finna say, do it sound like, or she finna ask him, do it sound like he was doing more than making some annoying phone calls to you?
But as we heard and read in one of the letters, the school accused you, Craig, of repeatedly engaging in disrespectful and demeaning communication.
Huh? That sound disrespectful and demeaning, right? Do that sound like a threat? Do that sound like he was having proper discourse with these people, right? Or do that sound like he should be on the terrorist list too with the other parents? If the other parents was having conversations right? That seem possible threatening, right? Why can't he have the same treatment that these other parents get, right? Maybe because they're conservative. If he was liberal, I mean, if he was conservative, he probably wouldn't be able to get this type of notification. He probably wouldn't get this far on the news talking about how your kid is being, especially on a liberal news station, right? You only get to be on a liberal news station if you're a liberal. A Democrat, I mean, a Republican ain't fit to get invited to this show and be able to talk about CRT. You got to watch that shit on Fox. They ain't got nobody on Good Morning America that came through and said, hey, my kid has been indoctrinated. This is what they teaching my kid. This is wrong. Not one. Not one. But as soon as Michelle Obama brother get on there, Craig, right? As soon as he file a lawsuit and shit like that, he all in the news. He able to explain, right? He able to play a victim, right? He able to build notoriety off of this. All that. But the average person that's probably a conservative couldn't do this. They wouldn't get the same treatment, no matter how high on a Republican poll they are. If they could be a politician too, right? But they're not going to get the same treatment as Michelle Obama, brother.
With teachers, what's your response to that, Craig?
Huh? It was a breakdown, right? Meaning that you wasn't cooperating with them and you didn't understand their laws and policies, right? That they were trying to explain to you. It was a breakdown in communication, right? In communication, the parents, right, who had a breakdown in communication, they was labeled terrorists.
You think a parent who makes a phone call to a school board member that she has elected, that school board member deems annoying, should be prosecuted?
Instead, arguing in court, the Robinsons became overly burdensome toward teachers and administrators.
Huh? Overly, right? If they treated the Obamas or the Robinsons the same way they treated Teresa and David, right? If they treated them the same way, right, they would be investigated. They would be investigated like these other parents. They probably had the teachers scared, right? They probably had the teachers scared. Look, they said it was demanding things. It wasn't they was asking for things. It wasn't they was trying to compromise. They was demanding things.
Prosecutors do, but parents don't, General Garland. Do you think that a parent
Sites 11 the school wrote that claiming parents repeatedly engaged in disrespectful and demanding communications with and about our teachers and administrators.
How about
Huh?
this one? They could be prosecuted for using the internet, I guess that would be Facebook, in a way that might cause emotional distress. And we're talking about parents like Scott Smith, who's behind me over my shoulder. This is a father from Loudoun County, Virginia. Here he is at a school board meeting. He was forcibly restrained. He was assaulted. He was arrested. Why? Because he went to an elected school board meeting. He's a voter, by the way. He went to an elected school board meeting to raise the fact that his daughter was assaulted, sexually assaulted, in a girl's restroom by a boy. This is what happened to him.
Now, Craig was able to damn near threaten the administrators, right? Call the teachers on a regular basis, harass them on their personal phones. On their personal phones. It wasn't like they was going to the school board, right? They surpassed the school board, right? They went to the personal phones, leaving voicemails and all kind of stuff, right? Demanded things. So why they wasn't treated like him? This was a father whose daughter was assaulted at a school, right? And look what he got. Craig Robinson, right? Then nothing happened to his two sons like what happened to his daughter. But he's a terrorist and they're not. He didn't call the teachers. He didn't call the administration. He showed up to a meeting. Why he's a terrorist?
Now, you testified last week before the House.
Right? But we not protected by the First Amendment, right? Ain't nobody. The Democrats are trying to take the First Amendment out, right? Even in that Twitter feed, right? They said the Democrats say, right, like Joe Biden repeat all the time, everything in the Constitution is not obsolete, absolute. Even your freedom of speech. The Democrats said that, and Twitter said they said that. Everything is not absolute, even your First Amendment right.
Hundreds of pages of emails, text messages to teachers' personal cell phones.
And all of this we found, we thought, okay, maybe we'll have a
Three days later, Tim Langan, director of counterterrorism at the FBI, is already trying to figure out how they're going to implement what the School Board Association asked for. And October 4th, we get the actual memo from the Attorney General saying treat parents the way they do. There's an accompanying press release that includes the National Security Division.
The school made the very rare decision to end the relationship, but a decision and a right it clearly had under the contract.
The terrorism getting involved with this, and then October 20th, because of a whistleblower, we know an email is sent out to FBI agents. That all happens in 22 days.
But wasn't no email sent out on the Robinsons. Think about that. Email sent out on the parent, especially one whose daughter was assaulted, right? But they get to damn near threaten the school administration and nothing happened to them, right? The Democrat is the party of the elite. They use this racist division, right? They use this deception, right? They use this so-called right versus left and all that other shit, and democracy and all that shit to their advantage, right? To their advantage. And it's working because people are blind to this shit, right? You got sheep are being blind. They don't know who the party of the elite is. Elite is when you control the government. Elite is when you control the laws. Elite is when you make the laws. Elite is when you don't follow the laws. Right? Elite is when you can prosecute your enemies for or your opponents for the same thing you do, right? Elite is when you can hide evidence. Elite is when you don't get investigated. Right? This is elite. Do any one of them I just described the Republican Party? Do any of them relate to the Republican Party? Right? Do Republicans control the FBI and the Justice Department? Do the Republicans control right now the government? Do they control social media? Right? We just got Elon Musk, they got the thing, but do they control the news cycle? Do Republicans control the news cycle? 83% of news that's coming out is anti-Republican. Huh? Do we control the music industry? Right? Do we control the fashion industry? Do we control what do we control? Do the Republican Party own a bunch of rap niggas and taking advantage of them? Is any Republican doing that? Huh? Is the Republicans running around saying less police? Huh? None of them describe the Republican Party. Less police, but more protection for us. That is elite. When you can sit on TV and eat $15 ice creams, and when other people are doing bad, that is elite. When you fire the fishermen, the shrimp catchers, and then have a dinner at the White House eating shrimp, that is elite. When you know people are doing bad, right, and then you don't do nothing to stop the pain at the gas pump or the food, and then get up and tell everybody in their face you all right, that is elite. When somebody tell you you're going to own nothing and you're going to like it, that is elite. Right? When somebody interferes with the election, you know what I'm saying, by donating money, you know what I'm saying, for poll locations and shit like that inside of Democratic locations, that is elite. when you have a person, right, that offers, you know what I'm saying, to pay for people that are mostly Democrats that get off, you know what I'm saying, they taxes and shit like that from when they was out of prison, the tax they owe so they can vote Democratic. That is elite, right? When you got people coming over here, right, at thousands and hundred thousands by the month and millions by the year, right? And you say, look, we need workers, and we want these people to be workers. That's why we letting them over here. That is elite. Don't none of that describe the Republican Party. None of it.
And once we gave them those suggestions and had a little bit of a back and forth,
Once we gave them suggestions are demands, right? I'm pretty sure they can handle a suggestion, but a demand is something else. I called them and gave them suggestions. Really?
summarily dismissed our young children, retaliating against them because of the issues that we brought up.
Of and respect for USM.
Huh? Respect and trust. You don't respect and you don't trust, right? So we got to get rid of you. It's nothing about the kids, right? So it don't sound like it was anything with the kids. It sounded like it was everything with the parents.
And after you started talking about this, and accused the school of bias, Kelly, did you hear from other parents and former students?
I mean, this is the federal government. This is the slowest thing in the world. When have you ever seen it move that fast? Which tells me they were coordinating this before they started.
Do we think that this was a decision that was unfortunate? Yes, it was. It's not a decision, again, that we came to lightly, and that's because these were good kids. These are good kids, and kids that were really beloved by their teachers and by their peers.
Huh? The kids was loved. The kids was all right. It was the parents that was fucked up, right? And not saying that their kids wasn't getting taught this CRT, but where's the other people? Where's the other outspoken parents, right? Where's everybody else? Or is this your problem, right? And you trying to put curriculum on what you think is what is right and what's wrong. Because you made suggestions. Why ain't no other parents making suggestions? Only you making suggestions because you are the party of the elite. The party of the elite can make suggestions or really, really demands. And if you don't abide by my suggestions and demands, right, we're gonna get people involved, right? Even if think about it, even if they don't win a lawsuit, right? This school has been exposed as supposedly being racist, right? So when parents or people think about sending their kids to the school, you done label them bad. You all on the news calling them racist and this and that, right? Defaming their character and shit like that, right? That's got to be defamation of character because you ain't proved nothing, especially if you lose the case, right? You can cost this school business because you had a problem with the school.
The kids were just 9 and 10 years old, and their parents have asked us to blur their faces. Even the school says they were model students, calling them, quote, portraits of a
out an email to agents around the country saying treat parents as domestic terrorists, use this threat tag, put that label on moms and dads.
Now, have you ever thought you'd be living in the country where you have to protect your kids from the government? You have to protect them from sexuality. You have to teach them from being racist. You got to keep them away from being indoctrinated. You got to keep them in touch with God, right? Because the Democrats are trying to take all that away from them, right? You got to let them keep in touch with their childhood, right? Because the Democrats are trying to take all that from you. We never been in the country where we thought we were gonna have to fight for our kids' right one day on not a right to be a teenager or even safe or anything like that, but a right to not be indoctrinated.
about how
Shit. I
the
messed
black
up.
students seem to get more harsh punishments than their white counterparts. In particular, a student using the N-word may be considered a good student or come from a good family, and their punishment is not as harsh as other students, in particular students of color.
But now,
You see that? It's not as harsh as other particular students of color, right? Now, why is you speaking up for other students and how you feel for other students? How do you have an opinion on how other students get treated, right? You have an opinion, right? Like, oh, I'm talking for other students, and I'm a white woman. Not to say anything wrong with this a white woman being in this conversation, but how can you speak up on how another person feel on what they're being exposed to, right? Right? She up here talking about levels of blackness, right? Is that in their place? Or like I say, are they trying to get back at the school for the suggestions they made and the school didn't follow them, so they hit them with a racist lawsuit, right? Which one do you believe, right? Is this like payback? Because we the Obama's cousins or brother, right? How you gonna kick us out of your school? We prestige, right? We don't. Our brother-in-law was the president, the first black president. We prestige. So how are you going to do this to us? We can get back at you in more ways than one. That's what you call elite.
the school says they'll need to graduate somewhere else.
Outside of the Robinson family, we had heard from other families who shared similar concerns. Has the school made any changes since this lawsuit was filed?
Changes in direct response to the lawsuit, I would say no.
No. Hell no. Right? Hell no. Hell no. But like I said, I don't keep these videos. Oh, where I'm at, right? But like I said, I don't keep these videos to under right here. Under an hour, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't put out multiple videos a day. But I just wanted to show you in that video, right before we wrap this up, I just wanted to show you in that video how the elite, right, get treated better than the average person, right? If you ride with a certain party, or you represent a certain side of a political party, right? Or you are related to a person from a political party, you get treated different, right? From everything to taxes, you know, from everything to murder, from everything to assault, right? It's everything from voting to racism, right? To sexuality, from everything, right? They're trying to control everything. Look, they're trying to take God out of things. Ain't no Republicans fighting to take God out of things, change the name of Christmas and things like that. Not one Republican, right? They're trying to take the guns out of people's hands. Not too many Republicans fighting for this rifle ban and Second Amendment rights and stuff like that. They're trying to give away free money. Ain't no Republicans pushing away to give away free money or nothing like that, right? We're not preaching that. They're trying to put kids and gay men, boys into women's sports. Ain't no Republicans preaching no shit like that, right? They're trying to preach the killing of babies is something natural and abortion and a baby inside the womb is just a myth. Ain't no Republicans preaching no shit like that, right? They're trying to preach that the inflation it's not a really no inflation going on, right? Ain't no Republican preaching like that. The border is secure, right? Ain't no Republican preaching no shit like that. Right? Look what all the Republicans not preaching, and look what the Democrats is preaching. Right? If you don't understand that the Democrats are the party of the elite, you are the one of the sheeps that's keeping them in power. You are the one of the sheep that's keeping them in control. You are one of the ones that allow them to do what they do. Because if they wasn't in office, they didn't have the power, and they didn't do it bluntly and get away with it every time they do it and have nobody say nothing about it, right? Because they have an ultimate enemy, right? If you're a Republican, they can do anything to you, right? Because they humanize you. First, you're a racist. Then you're a Donald Trump supporter. Then you're an election denier, right? Then you're from MAGA, right? And then you are transphobic, and you're homophobic, right? And you don't like the country. So you already right? So anything we do to you or against you is really considered not really. It's considered not really evil, or it's not really considered doing harm, or promoting harm to nobody, because you are the worst of the worst. So it's acceptable, right? We can do something to you because it's acceptable, because you hate all of these things. You's against all of this stuff. You against black people. You hate Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? You believe in what Trump say. You was at that date on that. You don't believe in science, right? You are the worst of the worst. So anything we do to you is acceptable. It's not perceived as regular violence. But everything you do to us is considered a hate crime. If you touch one of these other people that consider themselves a different type of sexuality, it's a hate crime. If you attack certain people, right, that believe babies should live, it's a hate crime, right? If you attack certain organizations, right, that you consider unjust, it's a hate crime, right? If you say that your kids, that you don't want drag queens inside of schools reading the books, right? You're transphobic. It's basically you're hating, right? You can't do nothing to a Democrat unless it's a hate crime. You something phobic, or you anti. It's one of the three, and you always harming somebody or killing somebody, right? You always bullying somebody because your thoughts. When your thoughts don't align with theirs, you're a bully. You're a racist, right? You anti this, homo this, phobic this. So long as they got the power, and long as they keep on being able to fool the masses that they're really for your best interest, because ain't that what the devil done? Didn't it? Wasn't that the devil biggest trick, convincing the world that he didn't exist? Well, the Democratic Party is biggest trick is convincing the world they not racist. And throughout the time, they had every racist bill and policy that you can name to man, right? But I'm going to get up out of here. I want to thank y'all for the donation. I'll be back at 3 o'clock, you know what I'm saying, with this Revit thing, you know what I'm saying. I got to run the mag. I'll be back at 3 o'clock, and I'll be back again at 8 o'clock. I got two more videos coming today. I got Hunter Biden, and I got the Norwegian killer, right? We're going to talk about some liberal shit. So I want to thank y'all for coming. Like I said, I don't keep these videos short because I don't keep them coming. I don't keep them coming faster and faster, more and different topics and shit like that, you know what I'm saying. Thank you for the donation. If you didn't donate on this video, please don't.